Hi, I'm Rebecca. This is my first video, so please be kind. So today I'll be showing you how to make fondant roses such as this one. A nice easy technique that doesn't involve too much swearing and throwing things around, which is what generally happens when I try and work with sugar paste. So you'll need a few tools. You will need a rolling pin, obviously, a mat of some kind, so a petal mat, or this is actually a lace mould, but because it's got quite a even pattern, it's quite good for rolling things on. I've tried using sponges, but that gives your petals quite a rough surface, so I would go with something silicone or a proper petal pad, which I don't actually own, which is one of the problems. A metal ball tool, although a normal ball tool will be fine, but you need a good large head on one side. Various cutters of different sizes, all round obviously. A water pen, which is an amazing tool for saving on glue and anything that requires a very small amount of glue. It's brilliant for that because it's very fine layer that you get from it. You can buy this from the usual places, Amazon, eBay, but I bought mine from Karina's Cupcakes. And of course you'll need some fondant. Now this has been treated with Tylose before I used it, so it gives it this lovely stringy texture like this. You can use CMC as well. You need about a teaspoon to 500 grams. You will also need something to dry on. I've got a foam drying pad like this. You can use the well of a paint palette, or if you scrunch, you could, if you haven't got any of these, scrunch up some food safe tissue paper and put it in a Tupperware and make little wells in it, because they're quite thick, so they don't really need to be too gentle. You just sort of want some way of holding it up while the petals dry. So you need to get your fondant, give it a good knead and a good roll, get it nice and flexible, and then roll it out. It doesn't particularly matter how thin you roll it, but you don't want it too thin, maybe about 1 to 2 millimeters. The thickness of it will affect the size of your rose though. So you need to cut out 4. Now I'm using the tip of this because I'm going to use this for the centre. You can use different sizes. I mean, you could even use this, but obviously that would give you a very large rose. So I'm going to cut 4 out, and then I'm going to put them on the drying pad, and then using the large end, I'm going to thin out the middle of the rose, but not too much, and then work around until you get to the edge, and then go along, get sort of half on, half off, and give it a nice thin edge. Do that. I'll do that so you can actually see. Do that on all 4. Sort of thin it out in the middle, and then work around to the edge, and then half on, half off all the way around. Same again. And then I use the small end of it to go over the edge again half on and half off. This gives you a very fine edge, curls it back a little bit. Okay, so now peel these off, and then take your first one and just sort of, say no swearing, fold it like this. So you have a nice little centre, nice little swirl for your centre. Take your next one and then put it so it's around where the join is, so it's opposite where the curl back is on the other side. And then place the other 2 around the edge so that they're sort of all evenly spaced. There we go. So I sometimes make them just like this, so that you've got like a nice little rose bud. Now you can, at this point, turn it over and squash together the bottom to smooth it out. But I'm going to make a large one, so I'm going to leave it for now. So I'll plunk that down. Work your fondant again. Nice and warm. Roll it out. There we go. Now this time I'm going to use the bottom of this because as you can see it's bigger than that one. So each time you do a row you need to go up a step, a size on the circle, because otherwise they'll just sort of stick halfway down and look a bit daft. So I need 4 again. Okay, and again place them on your mat. Sorry, do the same as last time, work around until you get to the edge and then half on, half off. All the way around. Doesn't matter if after you've thinned them some are a bit thinner, some are a bit bigger. Rose petals aren't all exactly identical, so it gives it a more natural look. There we go. Then again, around the edge with your small end. Okay. Now, this is actually quite sticky, so I'm not sure it's required. But sometimes if you've been using quite a lot of fondant and your hands get sticky and you have to start using corn flour, and you see what I mean, these are sticking to my fingers, I would then turn these over and put a line across like this with the water pen. I'm going to do it anyway, because if they're quite dry, when you work it, it starts getting sticky again, but because you're only touching the outside, it'll stick to your fingers on the outside but then not stick to the flour, so you end up swearing and screwing it up and throwing a tantrum. So I'll take one of these. Now this side here to me looks a bit empty, so I'm going to place one of the buds there, one of the petals there. But you can place them wherever you want, it's your rosebud. And then again, I just make these equidistant around the edge so that you've got nice flower. There we go. So then I turn this over. You'll see how it's all a bit funny at the bottom. So I take it and I pinch it, because you're never actually going to see this unless you play it light on its side, and if you do that you can use a calyx cutter and make a little green calyx to cover up the bottom anyway, so it'll look even prettier. But if you're sticking it like that, you've got a nice rosebud, nice looking bud. The proportions are alright. So then you sort of just go along with your fingers and gently curl back the petals as you want them to, and put it on your drying pad. The bottom will be quite sticky from when you just squeeze it in then, so it should stick on your drying pad and stand upright. The main reason you want it on here is so that when it dries you're not squashing your petals. And there we go, that's it.